borrowed materials included in this lesson are owned by their respective copyright holders. I do not represent nor claim ownership over them. Hello everyone! Welcome dear grade 6 learners. Be ready with the new learnings and be amazed with the different activities we have today. Today's lesson is based on the most essential learning competencies in Science 6, the different techniques in separating mixtures. And at the end of our lesson, the learner should be able to first, describe and illustrate the techniques in separating mixtures. Second, investigate the process in separating mixtures through decantation, evaporation, filtration, and magnetic separation. This is your teacher Lei from Kamlanyugan Central School, Kamlanyugan District, your science teacher. How can we separate the iron fillings from salt and sand? Is it possible to separate the salt from seawater? How will you remove the soil from the water? How will you separate the oil from water? In our previous lessons, we have learned that mixtures are substances that are produced with the combination of two or more substances, and mixtures are of different types: solution, suspension, and colloids. The methods of separating mixture depends primarily on the properties of each component. And we must remember that separating mixtures are done to make substances more useful. Now, we shall start with our first activity. Have fun and enjoy. Activity number 1. For this activity, please watch this video.
In this video, you will learn to decant liquid from a solid. Mixtures can form two layers when a solid settles to the bottom of a beaker. To separate the liquid layer from the solid layer, the liquid should be carefully poured off in a process called decantation. It is typical that some liquid will be left behind with the solid.
When the substance or the heavier object settles at the bottom of the container, we call that sedimentation. After which, we are going to use now the process of decantation as a process of separating mixture of liquid and heavier solid. In the activity, we have seen that the heavier substance settled at the bottom and the liquid was poured slowly out of the container. We shall now have activity number 2, and this activity was performed by yours truly. In this activity, we did the following materials: salt, pot, spoon, and water. of evaporation. The process of evaporation is used to separate soluble solid from solution. And in this process, only the solute is recovered, not the solvent. As we see in the activity, the water evaporated and the salt remained. We shall have activity number 3. Please watch this video. In this activity, we use muddy water. And how are we going to separate the soil from water? We all know that water is one of the most important thing that we need for us to survive, because our body is made.
Filtration. Take round filter paper and fold it into halves to make a cone as shown here. Fix a funnel on a stand. Wet its side and keep the filter paper in the funnel. Pour muddy water through the filter paper. Clear water will be collected in the beaker below the funnel. The clear water obtained is called the filtrate. This method of purifying water is called filtration.
Called filtration. Filtration is used in separating an insoluble solid from the liquid substances by allowing the liquid to pass through a permeable material that acts as a filtering medium. And we have activity number 4. Activity number 4 was also performed by yours truly, and the materials I used In the activity, we use the magnetic separation, which is the process of separating components of mixtures by using magnets to attract magnetic materials. In the activity, we have seen that the iron filings were attracted by the magnet, and it was separated from the sand and from the creamer or the coffee mate. So we can use this process or technique in separating mixtures with those that can be attracted with magnets to be separated from those materials that are not attracted with magnets. There are also other processes of separating mixtures. The first one is sieving. Sieving is a simple, convenient technique of separating particles of different sizes. A small sieve, such as that used for sifting flour, has very small holes, which allow only very fine flour particles to pass through. If we are going to look on the men working, they are separating the sand from the gravel. or they are separating the smaller particles from the big particles using a sieve. And that is how sieving works. We also have the process of picking, the method in which substances in a mixture can be separated by just picking them out with the help of hand. We use this process in separating mixtures of large particles that we can pick and separate them. Okay, now let's try this. Let's see what you have learned today. The first one. How are you going to separate mixture of flour and water? Is it filtration or evaporation? Very good. We are going to use the process of filtration. Next one. What are you going to do for you to be able to separate oil and water? Are you going to use the process decantation, or are you going to use the process of filtration? Very well said. The process you're going to use in separating oil and water is decantation. How about to separate salt from water? Are we going to use evaporation or the technique called filtration? You're right. The process you're going to use in separating salt from water is evaporation. How about rice grains and mongo? How are you going to separate them? Are you going to use sieving or are you going to use picking? Great, you're correct. The process you're going to use is picking. How about gravel and sand? What is the process you use to separate them? You're right. The process you're going to use is sieving. Okay, class? Always remember the following things. The different techniques in separating mixtures are picking, sieving, magnetic separation, filtration, evaporation, and decantation. Decantation is a process of separating mixture of a liquid and a heavier solid, while evaporation is used to separate soluble solid from solution. Filtration, on the other hand, is used in separating an insoluble solid from the liquid substances by allowing the liquid to pass through a permeable material that acts as a filtering medium. Magnetic separation is the process of separating components of mixtures by using magnets to attract magnetic materials. Sieving is a simple and convenient technique of separating particles of different sizes. And picking is the method in which substances in a mixture can be separated by just picking them out with the help of hand. Now, let's see what you've got today. Grab your notes and answer the following. In this activity, you are going to, from the situations below, select the situations that relates the separating of mixture in real life situation. Write them on your paper. First, the salted fish or tuyo was preserved by salt and are used as food to some people. Second, children are watching their favorite television show. Third, the gardener water the plants regularly. Fourth, the family safely drink purified drinking water from their water dispenser. And fifth, motorized vehicles that carry passengers to their place of destination. And the correct answer for the activity? First, the salted fish or tuyo was preserved by salt and are used as food to some people. Next, the family safely drink purified drinking water from their water dispenser. Congratulations to everyone who got the correct answer. And for your assignment, try to observe at home, then draw a real situation that shows the benefit of separating mixture. Then write something about it. Draw it in a long bond paper. Always remember, kids, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. Thank you for listening. Once again, this is your teacher Lee from Kamlanyugan Central School.